All right, where are we today, sir?
Well, we are at our Atlanta Hawks training facility in Atlanta, Georgia.
Beautiful place.
Great place.
When did we build this place?
We built this place, gosh, 8 years ago. I think what's spectacular about it is not what you see and how nice it is. It is basically where data, analytics, sports medicine, strength training, development, it kind of meets passion and hard work and the want and desire to kind of be what you can become. Just like in anything, we're in a data-driven business, but you change something, 1 degree here, or you move it and weight coming off of 1 foot versus another foot, all of a sudden outcomes get changed. And so this is a model for sports that I think is it's not only super cool and super neat, for all of us that love sports, but it's also very, very transitive to other things that we do in our day job. It's been a real blessing, to be honest. It's been fantastic.
Thank you for joining Teague Talks. Sitting here with Mit Shah, 3-time guest. Thank you for being here today. Let's get a little more emotional and a little more intentful on what we're doing here. So I'm going to go back to the classic immigrant story, the humble beginnings. Dad's running a hotel, 10-year-old Mit, cleaning rooms. What did those experiences teach you?
I always think, like in across my entire life, how lucky I am to have had that experience. And to do those things. And while it didn't necessarily seem obvious when you were, missing a game, because, you had to work the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift, or you were, not able to do that. But if I think back, those lessons that I learned the most was the deep care that my parents had for me and my brother, and how important it was for them to provide us a better life. But I don't know that they fully grasped that what we were doing together really was the greatest gift that we could have, because it taught us that nothing matters more than family. Don't be afraid to bet on yourself. And that comes with really committing to continuing to learn, to grow, develop, surround yourself with good people, but do not be afraid to bet on yourself, and to always treat people with respect. And I think those are very formative lessons that I learned very early on.
So the decision that your father made to support you and your dreams, how do you think about that now as the father trying to support your kids and their dreams?
I've been on the road quite a bit, as we kicked off the year, and I hadn't seen my parents, so I went and grabbed lunch and went over to their place. And we actually had this exact conversation about about our kids and what they're doing. And I share with my dad that, with what I find interesting having this conversation with both of our adult children right now is that I was just full of confidence, right? And energy, and yeah, I could do this. But I don't think as skilled or prepared for that, right? And I find both of our kids to be quietly confident and so much better prepared and so much smarter and equipped that, I do look at them, and much like I do with members of our team, and wow, this next generation, they're really special, and they think of things, and they have perspectives. But I go back to this formative experience about just how valuable family is. And that's why I think there's so many great family businesses in our industry, right? Because you think about it, right? And you just kind of and this is the next generation, and perhaps the third generation, right? Because I started 32 years ago. So there's another generation in between that. And the funny story is most people say I don't want to get in this business. Right. And then all of a sudden it's dude, I thought you didn't want to get into business, or I didn't understand what was, what was the opportunity here, but they're making their own opportunities. And I think it's because of the trust and respect of family.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm thinking about the evolution of Noble and how you've gone. And you mentioned in those early days, it's Holiday Inn, right? It's pre-Hampton. Noble doesn't exist. Noble comes in. You're one of the first ones to start sort of this hospitality private equity space, right? We started, I'm going to make up some numbers, but you started $50 million and then 200 million. And now we're at $1 billion. I mean, that's a big transformation. That's a big leap. I have my answer, but my question to you is, how'd you get there? What do you think it took? And are you happy with your evolution?
Well, I would say that the ability to have a business where you've been investing over 30 years, and you have had over that time period 150 round trip realizations, where you've been able to have a team that has worked side by side with one another, investing alongside of one another, and going through difficult times, because every one of those different cycles were fraught with some sort of event, whether it's the shutdown of the capital markets because Russia defaulted on their bonds, or whether it's the tragedy of 9/11, or the great financial crisis, or certainly COVID. Every one of those time periods, you're investing kind of through. But being able to realize investments across those time periods, that when we kind of keep score, top quartile strategies and platforms, it gives us an advantage, right? Because you're talking about a team that has been together, has invested together, has had success.
How long have Ben and Addie been with you?
Addie started as a summer analyst in 1998, and then came on as a full-time analyst in 99, and became a partner in 2006. And this month is Ben's 20th anniversary with me. I can go down the line.
I can, yeah. And Dustin Fisher joined right out of college.
But at the same time, all of these great leaders are there. They've also said, let us bring in other leaders on our team that are gritty, that are curious, that have a high ethical, moral background, but may come from a different set of experiences.
So pick on that. It's making me think, maybe not, the newest member of the team, but who's your superstar fundraiser?
Angela Johnson, who is joined us as a partner a year ago. What the goal really was to go take this track record and to take this team, and then to go think about, as the industry evolves and as these opportunities kind of avail themselves, how do we, as an organization, be at the forefront of being able to capitalize on that?
But it's a trick. Even on a professional organization, you bring somebody new in and you're not sure if you mess it up or not. Bringing a superstar, you're not sure. In an organization, it's easy. It's easy to bring in a rookie. It's easy for us to hire someone right out of college, and they come in and yeah, you're the new kid. Get in line. It's hard to bring in new talent that are superstars above people, right? Because you can mess up that chemistry. When you go bring in somebody like Angela, who seemingly is opening up an entirely new world, a new set of relationships. You're just getting back from Tokyo and Singapore and Asia. I don't know if you're happy, comfortable talking about that or not, but that's not been in the traditional Noble playbook.
Yeah. I think really talented, driven people want to be around other talented, driven people. And so I think it's just a fundamental construct of our existence. And so the answer is yes. She has helped make our team, better in many ways, and open up another element to our business that previously did not exist. And that's really important to me. I say this to people all the time. Like, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I built the wrong team.
This is fantastic. We'd be remiss if we didn't discuss Wake Forest.
It just goes back to my family and how my dad came here to the U.S. for education. In many ways, it just changed my life. And so as I think about just that power of education and what it meant to my parents, what it meant to me, and a place that is so incredibly special, and I think about this next generation that I'm so optimistic about, it just feels like the places that have that kind of impact on people are the right places to invest. When I was young, I got an infection and contracted a kidney disease, and so I was in the hospital quite a bit. And I remember that what would really be okay, and with one or both my parents in the hospital room, they gave me a transistor radio, and so I used to listen to Wake Forest games, at night. And so I fell in love with the game, because it gave me such great comfort. And I always thought it was fascinating that you put, five people on a court at one time from different walks of life, different places in the world, and they've got to figure out how they're going to go and execute for the greater good.
Yes.
And so it's always been a love and it's been a passion of mine. And it just so happens to dovetail with the fact that it was a very impactful time in my life. Our motto at Wake Forest is Pro Humanitate, for humanity. And I think that's just a really important way to think about our responsibility in life.
And get my perspective, you basically did what you learned here and took it there. So help remind me, what'd you build there? Sports?
Yeah, we built a basketball training facility with data, analytics, sports nutrition, sports medicine. But it's akin to like our business school, right? You have really talented people that come in that have passion, have potential, and you give them the tools, the resources, the coaching, the mentorship, the guidance to be what they can become.
I need your 2025 outlook, and specifically I put the pressure on you that you now have $1 billion that you have to spend. How much more pressure is this?
We're sitting here at a time where, we had an election, there's been an inauguration, there's, questions about policies and a variety of different things. I think you had pundits in the industry that, made prognostications on RevPAR last year that they brought down over the course of the year. No one wants to lose their job by being overly aggressive as it relates to what RevPAR growth is. I would simply say whatever you think RevPAR could be, or whatever the pundits say RevPAR would be, I'd bet the over for this year, right? And so I just think that it's going to be interesting to see how the supply side plays out. So I love the fact that you got these secular demand trends and you've got very moderate supply growth, because real estate 101, that's long-term pricing power. And, long-term pricing power, for every dollar that you generate in rate, I think there's a very healthy opportunity in which to continue to drive EBITDA growth. So I'm optimistic that will take place. With regards to the most recent fund that we closed a year ago, we've already invested $500 million of equity. Right. So just think about that from that standpoint. So $1.5 billion in assets. We've also launched $500 million on top of that separate bucket of capital for mid-scale extended stay. So $2 billion of activity in the last
That's
24 months. It's not, and so I like our pace of activity. What I tell you, look, it's about the people that we trust are on our team, the data, the analytics, having conviction on our strategies, and leaning in when we find that the data, the analytics, the people, and that conviction is there. And so we've leaned in, and we're going to continue to lean in.
Wrapping up a little bit here. I want to transition. We got the Hunter Conference coming up in March. You always do the Bharat Shah speaker series. Thank you. But I want to pick on that because that was sort of the original this platform. You were way ahead of time, way ahead of everything, sitting down and doing that just organically. Talk to me a little bit about that, and then tell me who we got coming this year.
Sure. Well, as you know, Teague, because we've been talking about just the future in terms of like how do we think about the cadence of these conversations. This year, I thought it was a really important time, especially just kind of given what's going on in the world across a number of different economic, geopolitical strategies, to have somebody that has been through a number of these different cycles and has invested across a number of these different cycles, and who has most recently, I think, represents the largest amount of actual investments that have been done over the last couple of years. Also happens to be one of my dearest friends, and spanning my entire career. We partnered on some very interesting strategies of late, as you know. It is my dear friend, Jim Rizzolio, who is the president and CEO of Host Hotels, who is the only S&P 500 real estate investment trust in the lodging space, and the world's largest owner of luxury and upper upscale hotel. And Dick Marriott told me, and Dick is, and as we all know the story, Dick Marriott and Bill Marriott, when the split between Marriott and Host Marriott happened, Bill Marriott became chairman of Marriott, Dick became chairman of Host. So one of Dick's very first CEOs was Chris Nassetta, and Chris hired Jim. He's just an incredible human being. I mean, you think about the kindness of his heart, how he mentors and guides this next generation of leaders, how he has this incredible ability to both understand what's happening in the market and the discipline, but yet the boldness in which to go make meaningful bets. As you see him, they're the largest investor in this space over the last several years. But his personal story is the one that I believe is really going to capture the hearts and minds of our audience.
I cannot wait to hear it.
Yep.
And I'll bring my tissues.
It'll be great.
I'm always prepared.
It'll be great.
Mitt, thank you for sitting down. Thank you for doing this. This is great. I hope people enjoyed it. Before we run out, can I challenge you to a game of one-on-one?
While we grab a basketball, we'll see. We've got some good golf to play. Don't need you blowing an ACL or an Achilles.
Okay, one-on-one. You start. What are the stakes?
What do you want?
Loser buys golf. On your plane that you take us somewhere to play.
Sounds like a plan.
How you going? All right, fun questions. Can the Hawks win a championship anytime when you're an owner?
Yes.
Will Trae Young be a part of it?
Soon, hopefully.
Can we build a championship around Jalen Johnson?
Yes.
I haven't made one yet.
You want a hype song?
Yeah, hype song. You're walking out.
Lose Yourself, Eminem.
Who's the best golfer in the industry that we know?
That's a good question. Like, Scott Bilko's pretty good.
DePrima played in college.
Prima played in college, he's pretty good. Although, Sam Gleason and I just got done smoking Mike DePrima and Tom Fisher. Oh yeah. Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible looking shot.
Remember there was a time when you played basketball?
There was a time.
There was a
now
time.
I just bum shoulder, bad ankles, bad knees.
All right, who's bailing you out of jail?
Hopefully that never happens. But if it, to the extent that it does,
Yes.
I'm calling Reshma.
Oh.
Because I'm gonna have to answer questions. I might as well get it out. Let's just get it done with. Go ahead, start it. I know all the answers, etc.
Better question. Who's going to be in jail next to you?
It's 50-50 you, maybe. 50-50 you.